everyone. My name is Chris, and today I'm going to talk about cybersecurity for maritime industry. And let me go straight into it. Okay. So one of the key things about Rakuten Symphony is that we're a technology company, we're a software company, and we're innovated in Open RAN for telecom as well as AI. So we keep on continuing to push the boundaries. And one of the things that we've been looking into very closely is how can we expand into various areas that have meaningful impact for industry, but also for society, and bring some of that know-how and that spirit into different verticals and different technologies. So let's talk a little bit about the lifetime of Smart Ship. Okay, so initially we had the conventional shipping for containers and cargo and things like this, where the focus was on personnel safety, but also around collecting data, very, very basic information about how cargo is being handled, as well as how things are tracking. And then later on, in around about 2012, it started to transform when carbon footprint became a very big issue for the industry, and it pushed engineers to be able to think differently about propulsion, as well as how can they make things more efficient, as not just from operational perspective, but cost effective for the business as well. And now we're entering into the smart ship era, is where we are right now. So there's a certain level of autonomous vessels out there that have highly automated capabilities, but the amount of information, the amount of automation is fairly limited across IT systems as well as OT systems, or operational technology. And this is where it starts to get really interesting, because now with the capabilities of Starlink, which has opened up the Pandora's box a little bit around ship connectivity, so much that it's now having challenges around cybersecurity. And as this transformation continues, what we're finding is that when we go into full autonomous vessels, we're going to see everything automated, an onshore crew that's going to be there monitoring how the vessels are progressing through their journey. All underpinning this is data. So it's very, very important to our customers, to ship operators and owners and logistics companies, to make sure that all these systems are secure. So as connectivity improves, operational demands require lower costs, safety is a priority, as well as the risk of attacks are increasing. The traditional ways of doing cybersecurity for vessels are fairly rudimentary and quite costly as well. So we had to think differently in the industry about how we secure our vessels, as well as making sure that global trade is not impacted. And what is really interesting is today, with the current fleet out there, which comprises of a lot of old vessels, actually, on average, each vessel is collecting around about 80 terabytes of data, predominantly in CCTV footage, other telemetry from operational systems, as well as navigation systems. But here's the catch, right? As ships are being modernized and new ships are being deployed, and new equipment, more technologically advanced equipment, including automation, starts to evolve and it starts to flood the industry. What we're seeing is that this data is being, it will grow quite exponentially, and again, poses another security threat for ship operators, owners, and logistics companies. So this is something that the industry is really struggling to grapple with. And I want to just present two use cases or two incidents that have occurred over the past year or two. And there's been many more, hundreds more. Okay, so in 2025, there was an issue where 180 vessels, mainly cargo vessels, as well as shipping containers carrying crude oil as well as gas, were hit in Iran. And this caused major issues for the shipping industry and affected productivity worldwide. And then in the port of Seattle in 2024, Maersk, who is one of the biggest shipping companies in the world, was hit by a cybersecurity attack. And this caused massive issues for over 2 weeks. And although it was estimated around about 300 million USD, the damage, analysts say it was actually much, much more because of the on-flow impacts into the industry for customers and people like yourselves and myself, to be able to receive goods. So this was a really big hit on the industry. So with this growing connectivity, expansion of AI and automation into autonomous vessels, the actual regulatory body, ICAX, decided in July 2024 to release two key major legislations or rules that they had to comply with, and that's URE 26 and 27, which talks about cybersecurity hardening strategies, connectivity, as well as OT and IT devices on vessels. And this covers new vessels only, which is very, very important to point out. So what they decided was they needed to address this at the core and provide the compliance across the entire fleet, across all companies across the world. So this is now law. And one of the key things is that a lot of shipping companies and management companies just couldn't come to grasp or understand what these regulations meant. They were really struggling to understand what it was, but also how do we implement this for our new vessels. So this was key. So at Rakuten Maritime, we began dialogue with our customers, with industry, with the experts, with the regulatory bodies to come up with products and services that tries to solve these problems. And these are complex problems in a very unique, I would say, slow-moving industry, very traditional industry. So what we did is that we had a look at the regulations and we decided to provide an end-to-end implementation throughout the life cycle of the construction, the design, the build, as well as operational efficiency, and as well as maintaining certification for all our customers. So what we did was we designed a suite of products and services that would achieve this. So we look at the requirements as ships are being commissioned or put into build. We analyze every single component of OT and IT equipment that is deployed on those vessels, including software, the network connectivity, including terrestrial, as well as other onboard connectivity, for all new vessels. And we analyze this, identify risks, mitigation, as well as some equipment may need to be replaced or upgraded even before they start procuring this equipment. So this is critical. It saves money by identifying these issues up front. So then the actual design, the security is built into the vessel. This helps with ongoing obligations for certification, but also lowers the operational and running costs over time. The key thing, though, that we wanted to do was not just meet the regulations, but exceed them. So you might be asking, what type of issues might a shipping vessel have in terms of cybersecurity? Well, actually, they're not too different from what we experience in the IT and telecom world today. However, the unique part is that the type of equipment that's used on these vessels are quite unique. And also, some of them are quite old in terms of their technology and provides different attack vectors that allow bad actors to be able to penetrate the network or IT or OT systems on a vessel and basically render them useless, floating in the ocean, sitting ducks. So we look at all these potential threats and we said, how can we fix this? How are we going to solve this? So what we did is we put together a suite of products and services, as I mentioned before, right from the requirements analysis and design, sitting down with the architects, with the technology partners, and we put together a plan and a strategy to deal with these things. We harden the vessels to make sure that their systems are bulletproof from cybersecurity attacks. But not only that, we provide innovative products such as our AI-driven honeypot solution that deploys virtual ships to be able to detract attacks from the actual ship. So the actual ship crew, the operators can work on remediating and hardening the ship's equipment, but also services, and prevent any ongoing attacks on the actual vessel. This does it real time. And what this does for our customers, it gives us the ability to be able to certify their vessel to make sure that it meets the ICAC's compliance for E26 and E27 out of the box. So it enables them to provide ongoing certification, and we provide maintenance and support to them throughout the life cycle of the vessel. And as a result of that, we've been awarded classification, certifications, and actual awards from industry leaders. And actually, you might have seen some of them up on the big screen up there during the week. But what this does is we're being recognized as key advocates of cybersecurity in the industry, leading the charge along with the classification societies and the specialists in the field to make sure that cybersecurity is taken seriously within the maritime industry, and that has minimal impact on global trade and our lives. It's a very, very key point. So in saying all that, what's next? So we're trying to look into other areas such as document security, as mentioned before, but also we're expanding into safe and secure communication techniques, but also how AI is driving and accelerating autonomous vessels as quickly as possible. And we want to ride that wave and be part of those solutions, particularly when it involves cybersecurity or digital transformation. And that's it today. I thank you very much for your attention. Please enjoy the rest of the Rakuten booth and MWC. Thank you very much.